Alright, gonna do a video on what I call the junk box junker. Picked this thing up for a song and a dance, or probably maybe a song and not even a dance. But anyway, a little 2-tube bass unit. I'm like, how bad can it be? It looks decent. I see it's homemade, but I'm like, looks decent on the outside. Like decent work there. Nice little cabinet case, and we're gonna take the top off here. Yeah, let me set this down. And I was like, oh boy, nice little transformer. Probably will handle 3 or 4 of the little tubes instead of the 2, and it looked like, if you see the little hole imprints under the tape there, that it might have been a 4-tuber. But it does use the little 6JT6 tubes. But I'm like, nice transformer. 2 6JT6 tubes. Might be a nice little small 50-watt amp modulator. So of course we get it home and turn it over. And we see the insides there. And we're like, wow. Just wow, like, who put this thing together? All kind of bad stuff going on. But the funny thing is, I fixed a few terribly bad solder connections. Just enough to get it going. It's like it'd take too much work to redo this nightmare to make it into what I'd say is a dependable box. But it does work. But just look at that workmanship in soldering and wiring. Just bad stuff. And then it's pretty good components. Like, that's a nice heavy duty relay for it. Good size tune cap. Nice gap, and that's the load. It's got a pretty good gap. I've seen worse on, bigger, heavier amps than that. Nice size coil. But then you look at the workmanship and all, that's a good plate choke. But you look at the workmanship, bleeder resistors, but the workmanship is just horrible. And some other things I don't like that long green cable stretched across that goes from your output of the load cap to the relay. Look how long it is. I think that ought to be better design. You want it short as possible. And if you got to go long, use coax shielded, for that. Don't use a long bare wire like that. And they did similar to the see, you got an input tuner. That's what that coil and that variable cap is right there. But look at the wiring going to it. That black one there up to this bare one here. That's the input tuning, and then out that wire there going over behind under that cap into the tubes. Just ew. Not to mention the diodes here are the high voltage, like 2 legs on a terminal strip. You can see the horrible workmanship and soldering and wiring down there. And the plate choke and the diodes are not tied down. They're just kind of wiring and hanging in the air. So anyway, lots wrong with this thing, but I guess it would be more like an experimental box than what I would call a real box. You want to play, experiment with certain stuff, I guess this would be the box for you. So before I turn it on, I'm going to hook a meter to it. Because when I turn it off, I want to show, you know, you got good bleeder resistors in there, and people are always concerned about bleeding. So I just want to show something when I turn it off. So anyway, I think I'm ready and safe to turn it on. Just letting it warm up. Got nice pretty lights, on-off light. And when you're in operate, the green light's green, and in standby, that green light turns off. The mod light works in light. It's got a fan switch on it, but it doesn't have a fan in it. Imagine that. As you can see on the fan switch, nothing's connected to the back of it. And you can see the plate. I got the leads hooked up backwards, but it's running at 875 volts. That's really good voltage, but like I say, that's a nice transformer in it. And hopefully, if it's still tuned up, we're going into the dummy load. And it's just keying 20. Audio. Talking about 35. Whistling to 50. And that's on average. And again, on average, I keep saying that, and people keep, you know, getting me like MFJ watt meters are junk. This is calibrated to a bird meter. I got lots of bird meters, but I like this big giant one. Audio. And that's it on peak. Audio. Audio. Big difference between peak and average, isn't it? Hello, hello. Talking about 80. Whistling to 70. That's interesting, isn't it? And that's the front of it. Hello. And that's about what this little 2-tube junk box junker, one of the worst made things I've ever seen, with good components in it. That's about what it does. And again, I said when I turn it off, I was going to show you about bleeder resistors. It's got 2 good bleeders in it. And you can see the voltage there at 800 volts. And I'm going to turn it off. And you see it bleed down. It's down to 35. And keep going down already. So, yeah. Any good box with the good bleeders, that's what it'll do. It'll take that voltage right down. You know, you don't have to wait hours or days and all that if it has bleeders in it. If it did not have good bleeders in it, it would take forever. It would hold a charge for forever. I got shocked once by a video game monitor back in the day when I didn't know what I was doing, that had been off for a month. And I reached back on that CRT tube, and with it unplugged and off for a month, that high voltage was still on there, and it made me holler mama. So anyway, that's gonna be it on this super junk box junker. But I guess everybody got to start somewhere. All right, bye.